welcome to Lunchtime Politics. First, the highlights. Panic in Lagos as stations managed by NNPCL sells premium malted spirit at 568 naira in the nation's capital, 617 naira per litre. Independent marketers are selling above the NNPCL price, while prices in the northwest stands around 620 naira per litre. Former legal advisor to the All Progressives Congress says there's no provision in the party's constitution that allows for resignation of the national chairman. And in Gombe State, the governor, Inuwa Yahaya, swears in the secretary to the state government who is serving his second term. Thanks for joining us. I'm Millicent Walker in Lagos. And Nigerians may be facing tougher times in the coming days as there's yet another pump price hike across the country. In Lagos, the stations managed by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited and NPCL are selling at 568 naira, while the price in the nation's capital, we understand, is 617 naira per litre. The independent marketers are selling above the NNPCL price as theirs is sold for between 600 naira and 700 naira per litre. The situation appears to be creating panic buying amongst motorists as it started having a spiraling effect on the cost of transportation. It will be recalled that the price of PMS was jerked up after the president, May the 29th, 2023, announced that subsidy is gone. I'll bring you more updates on that developing story across the country. Well, to more mainstream politics, the uncertainty and drama over the fate of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, has finally ended. And this is following the announcement of his resignation yesterday by the National Working Committee after its emergency meeting in Abuja. The acting national chairman, Senator Abubakar Kyari, also announced the resignation of the party's national secretary, Senator Iyola Omisore, at that meeting.
It was a calm atmosphere at the headquarters of the All Progressives Congress in Abuja. Members of the party's National Working Committee converged for their meeting, which took place behind closed doors.
It won't take 30 minutes now.
The All Progressives Congress, since inception in 2013, has had 5 chairmen, 2 of them Mr. Bisi Akonde and Mr. May Malabuni in interim capacity. Of the 3 that were duly elected between 2014 and 2023, only Mr. Oyegun Odigie completed 1 tenure, as former Governor Adams Oshomole and Senator Abdullahi Adamu had their tenures truncated. After the meeting, which lasted almost 4 hours behind closed doors, the Deputy National Chairman North announces the outcome of the meeting.
NWC wishes to inform you the resignation of the National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, CON, and that of the National Secretary, Senator Iyola Omisore, CON. And with this development, and according to the Constitution of the All Progressive Congress, APC, it is now incumbent on my humble self, Senator Abubakar Kyari, as the Deputy National Chairman, North, to assume the office of the Acting National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC.
The acting national chairman makes further announcements about its National Executive Committee meeting.
The proposed National Caucus meeting slated for Tuesday, the 18th, July 2023, and the National Executive Committee meeting of the All Progressive Congress slated for Wednesday, 19th July 2023 has hereby been postponed.
17 members of the National Working Committee were in attendance as the National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Felix Moka, and the National Women Leader, Mrs. Betty Edu, were excused after due permission.
Meanwhile, a former legal advisor to the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Moise Banire, says there is nowhere in the party's constitution that allows for the chairman's resignation. The Learned Silk adds that the present situation the party finds itself has created a gap in the constitution of the party, and the says are done by inference from other provisions in the constitution. He was speaking on our political program, Politics Today.
There is nowhere in the APC's constitution where resignation is contemplated at all. But I know that as at the time I left that office, we proposed some amendment which included that. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened, that it wasn't ultimately passed at the 2022 convention. So as of today, there's no provision for resignation in the APC constitution. So what has happened is somehow extraordinary. Again, that will now leave you with the gap again of what happened immediately the man resigned. Now we have the deputy national chairman not taking over the saddle. The only provision you can add on that is where under the functions or powers of the deputy national chairman for the South and North, which says that if the chairman is incapable of performing the function of his office or is in his absence, any of the deputies can act. That's the only provision under which they can ride on now, because there's no provision for situations such as resignation in the APC constitution. And who should the resignation itself be addressed to, and what will happen? All those are the lacuna that are apparent in the present APC constitution. So whatever that is happening now is being done by implication or by inference from other provision of the APC constitution.
Political analyst Jido Joe joins me now for more around this debate on the leadership of the APC. Thanks for joining me on the program.
My pleasure, Millicent. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'd like to begin from what you've heard. Senior advocate, the lawyer, Moise Banire, talk about how there appears to be a lacuna on that provision, Article 17 of the All Progressives Congress. Do you agree that that is a lacuna? It didn't anticipate resignation, of the national chairman of a party?
Well, I'm surprised to hear that a ruling party will not have provision for resignation. Even the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has provision for people to resign, or to be impeached, or to be removed. So how come the framers of the All Progressive Congress in 10 years of its existence will fail to have a provision for chairman to resign? Anyway, by implication, this was a voluntary action, and if it is true that they cannot resign, I think it behoves the National Executive Committee to then invoke vote of no confidence in the two officials, as well as endorse the sack of them for anti-party activities or whatever they want to call it.
You mentioned voluntary. Resignation is supposed to be voluntary, but do you think he actually made this voluntarily? Many have talked about, some issues, differences that might occur, which might have contributed to his departure for the APC.
Well, Millicent, if you have ever worked in public service, there is something called soft landing. What was actually given to the two gentlemen was what is called soft landing in public service rules. When somebody is indicted and he doesn't want it to affect his future career, you ask him to resign. And that's why, sometimes you've heard of deputy governors who either claim to have resigned or they have been impeached. I recall the case of former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Mrs. What's her name now? The only female deputy governor they have so far, when he was deputy governor with now President Bola Tinubu in Lagos State. She claimed to have resigned, but the Lagos State House of Assembly claimed to have impeached her. Now, there is a lot of difference between resignation and sack. If you are sacked, it's an indictment and it's a criminal. It has a criminal intonation, which means you may not be able to hold any future political office. But if you claim that you resign, that means there is still an opportunity for you in future to be considered for higher or other political offices. So I think it's just playing on words. But the most important thing is that you could see that even yesterday when former National Secretary now, Iyolo Omisore, tried to barge into the NNPLC meeting that was held yesterday morning. He was asked to excuse them, and he had to oblige, otherwise he could be embarrassed. So, long story short, we wait to see how this unfolding drama will end, because they might go to court to say, no, the NWC, or they didn't do this voluntarily. I've read that Kayode Ajulo, who is the lawyer to Iyolo Omisore, claimed that he has not resigned as at yesterday. But we know that 24 hours in politics is a long time. So we just wait to see how this whole thing will pan out ultimately.
One essentially wonders if, there are any potential consequences, and this is, of Senator Adamu's departure for the All Progressives Congress. And this is also when you look back at the history of the APC and what appears to be a stormy ride for most of the national chairmen.
Well, unfortunately, like you said in your background, APC hasn't been a better version of PDP when it comes to leadership crisis. PDP, in its 25 years of existence, had only one chairman that completed his tenure. And APC is also following in that suit, with the exception of Odige Oyegun, who was able to lead the party between 2014 and 2018. No other chairman of the party had succeeded in completing its tenure. And we saw that, even Oyegun's tenure was rancorous and ended in a very rambunctious note. Recall that even the then Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was to chair, or who was appointed to chair the reconciliation of APC members after the 2015 election, claimed to have been frustrated by Odige Oyegun, whom he backed to be the consensus candidate of the party at the convention that produced him. And like I said, politics is a game of intrigues, it's a game of betrayal, it's a game of backstabbing, it's a game of, like it said, there is no permanent friends or enemy in politics, it's only interest. So if you are not serving the interest of the power brokers that brought you into power, definitely they will see you to the door.
And, still staying with this, one also wonders if, this affects the unity of the party, looking at, all of the processes, the current state, and the ability of the party to sort of maintain unity. While you're thinking about that, do you think this might affect the public perception of the All Progressives Congress, to Nigerians?
Definitely it will affect the perception of the party, like I said. And I've spoken on several media platforms even today. My own concern is that this is eroding the democratic consolidation of Nigeria. When you have all the leading political parties in Nigeria being very unstable, they are all going through leadership instability, from the big or dominant ones to the fringe parties. You recall that ADC even expected its presidential candidate in the lead up to the 2023 elections. We've had PDP removing its party chairman after the election, Yochahayu, and now it's Adamu Abdullahi, the national chairman of APC. And there are those who speculated that Adamu's exit is not connected to the fact that it's part of effort to dismantle the structure left behind by former President Muhammadu Buhari, given the fact that Adamu Abdullahi did not even hide his disdain for Bola Tinubu's presidential ambition. So to answer your question more forthrightly, yes, it's going to affect the perception of the party as a very unstable party, as being no different from other parties. Recall that the mantra of APC is change. So, change can be positive, it can be negative. Situations where you have people just removing the chairman of the party on whimsical excuses. Excuses such as, you didn't greet the president on his birthday, or that you didn't join your classmate to go and see the president, or that you didn't support the president for his party primary and all of that. You then know that it's just about interest. And the general public will not view APC as being any different. Rather, they will see it as being one of the same of same. In their own opinion, it's going to be seen as the same of same. Of course, people have accused APC of even inflicting bigger economic challenges on them. They easily reference the removal of the subsidy and then the redesigning of the Naira note. So this again does not.
We're seeing a bigger impact today as well with the prices that appear to have gone up. But I just want to, perhaps in 30 seconds, and this is, I'm sure you have a crystal ball. What do you think will be happening next? Do you have any potential candidates, or do you see the new man acting, maintaining that permanently?
No, the new man cannot act permanently if what is on the grapevine is anything to go by. Right now, there are 4 openings within the party hierarchy at the National Working Committee. They've lost one person, the National Welfare Officer. They've lost Murtala Ajaka, who has resigned to join SDP to contest for the governorship of Kogi State in the November elections. Now they have 2. The acting chairman and the acting national secretary, both of them are from northern part of Nigeria. The acting national chairman is from Borno State. The acting national secretary is from Plateau State. And that will not be allowed to stay for long. So what we are likely going to see is a special convention that would seek to replace all the 4 positions that are now vacant. There are also insinuations to the effect that Kyari, who is now the acting chairman, is penciled down for ministerial appointment. And if that is true, he cannot hold the 2 positions together. If he chooses to be national chairman, that means he has to forgo his ministerial ambition. We saw that happening with Adamu Abdullahi. Recall that Adamu Abdullahi was, as at the time of his election as the national chairman of the party, he was a serving senator representing Nasarawa West Senatorial District. And after his election, on consensus, he resigned his membership of the National Assembly, or the membership of the Senate more appropriately. So what will likely happen now, and there are media speculations that the Progressive Governors Forum is already trying to come up with a short list of prospective replacement for the positions that are vacant. Right. Recall, Minister, that some of those positions were zoned, and so their zones are likely going to nominate possible replacement, but this will have to be formalized at a special convention, which might be held in due course.
Indeed. Political analyst Jido Joe speaking from the grapevine. We'd like to appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us on the program.
It's a pleasure. Do have a great day and stay safe. Well.
Indeed. We'll go on a short break. We'll be back with more political stories. Stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Well, let's go over to Kano, our correspondent Sadiq Eliasu, to give us an update of what some of those prices we're hearing about, fuel pump price, what they're going for today. Sadiq?
Hi, Millicent.
Indeed. Sadiq, bring us up to speed. I know you've been to so many fuel stations over there. Tell us what your experience is, why the prices are the way they are, if they're fixed, if they've increased, and why they've increased.
Yeah, I've been to one of the filling stations here in Jigawa State, Northwest Nigeria. I was in other filling stations this morning, and some of the filling stations were still selling the PL at around 12.
We appear to be having a situation with our audio there, but then our correspondent Sadiq Eliasu trying to talk to us about his experience going out today, filling stations and the prices. We earlier told you that about 620 naira per litre is what fuel is going for PMS, and that's in the northwest states. Abuja, the nation's capital, about 617 naira per litre. And Lagos, we're seeing a range of NNPCL filling stations that are selling about 518 naira. We'll continue to bring you the latest of that. We also know and understand that motorists are not smiling about that particular news. Well, let's go over to Gombe State. The governor, Muhammadu Inuwa Yahya, has sworn in Professor Ibrahim Anjodi as secretary to the state government. The reappointment of the professor as SSG is coming months after serving in same capacity during his first tenure of the governor. In a statement by the state's Director General Press Affairs, Ismaila Misili, the governor described Professor Anjodi as a seasoned administrator who contributed immensely to the modest achievements already recorded in the first spell of his administration. Also, the governor inaugurated a 10-member special honorary advisory council to guide the implementation of his government's good policies and programs and his avowed commitment to turn challenges into opportunities and provide effective solutions to the problems facing Gombe State. The committee comprises seasoned technocrats, well-accomplished experts and professionals in various fields, the first of its kind in the history of Gombe State. Speaking during the inauguration ceremony, which held at the Government House, the governor restated his commitment towards the actualization of the historic development plan for Gombe State, tagged Devacom, which provides a holistic roadmap for the sustainable development of the state from 2021 to 2030. Over in Taraba State, Governor Agu Kefes has set up a committee for the assessment and recovery of the state assets across the country. The committee is to ascertain the number of movable and immovable assets in Kaduna, including the liaison office in Lagos, Abuja, the Central Business District, and any part of the Federal Capital Territory. In a press statement issued by the Secretary to the Taraba State Government, the committee has also been given the power to ascertain the location of the properties in any other part of the country. It adds that the group will make an overall assessment of the economic and monetary value of each asset, determine the sustainability of usage of each asset by the state government, and make appropriate recommendations to the government. It is to submit its report within 4 weeks of commencement. The committee has the retired Major General Habila Ventinaba as its chairman and 13 other members from across the different sectors. Well, we're now in the southeast, where the Abia state government says it has saved over 200 million naira on its monthly wage bill in light of an ongoing verification of civil servants and other public workers in the state. This was made known by the state accountant general in Umuahia, who hinted the huge saving was made using a unified payment system. She notes that 2,300 ghost workers were discovered during the verification process. She confirmed that state workers have received the payment of their April salaries, while payment of June pension to retirees has also been made. As the people of Imo State gear up towards the November governorship election in the state, the African Union Development Agency New Partnership for Africa's Development has tasked INEC, security agencies and the media, as well as civil society groups, to step up campaigns for a violent, free and credible election. Speaking at a workshop on effective implementation of the national program awareness campaign on violence-free election in the state capital, a representative of the agency said the aim of the workshop is to create awareness for the management of democracy. And that's the program this afternoon. You've been served lunch. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Bye for now.